r/AskReddit. What's something your employer did that instantly killed employee morale? Had a boss everyone loved. Then she got transferred to another store and the new guy that replaced her decided the schedule that we'd all gotten used to needed to be shaken up. He posted the next week's schedule that was completely different than it had been under the previous manager. Got a bunch of complaints from people saying they can't work X days or Y times, and it seemed he was receptive since he took that schedule down. Then suddenly bam, he just reposted the same exact schedule and said duck everyone. Oh. We had some people calling in sick from time to time under the old manager, but this new manager has pretty much half his crew every single day calling out because of his shitty tactics. Here's the first thing to learn about being a good manager. You don't need to shake things up for people to be better workers. You don't need to put your mark on anything if it's working just fine the way it was. A grocery store I worked at for just about 4 weeks or so in 2000 did that. The manager, who primarily employed high school seniors like myself, would state your employer is your #1 priority. You work for them, not the other way around. I don't care about whatever teenager/high school things you have going on. If you can't work the shifts I don't want you to work for me. Only job I straight up walked out on after he told me I couldn't get off for my own graduation. That's the best. I love it when employers try to be shitty to high school students. They never realize that high school students don't need them at all. They still live with their parents and most of the time don't have any bills to pay. Maybe just a car payment and going out to eat if you're unlucky. Plus just about anyone will hire a high school student since they are usually willing to work for next to nothing. Put up a poster that said complaining is like vomiting. You feel better but everyone around you feels sick. The morale was already bad, but it was just a shitty way to take a hit at upset employees rather than do anything positive. Complaining is like vomiting. Something caused it to happen, and it's best to figure out why and change it so it doesn't happen again. Started firing people by lining 2 up at a time and seeing which one they prefer to keep on. Didn't matter if you were there for 20 years or 2. Also hiring management from outside and not promoting within, which means the new managers have no knowledge of anything that company does in terms of ethics, procedures, or employee status. It has turned this clique type environment into every person for themselves. Very toxic. I once had a retail manager who sent out a memo that we worked so hard and did such a great job this month that she gets a bonus. That went over like a lead balloon. Worked in a deli years ago and the manager promised us a no-holds-barred barbecue at his place if he got his bonus for the deli performing well. He got his bonus and, surprise surprise, we got nothing. Apparently the wife wanted the bonus for their kids' private school fees. Doug, you suck. At an airplane factory, managers started rationing gloves, hairnets, masks, and trash bags at the same time. We had to go on a 12x6 work week. Like that was gonna make up for the increase in labor. I used to work in healthcare and, as a student, in different production plants where you needed gloves because everything was hot or dirty or because everything had to be very clean. When I started a new job in any of these fields, I swear you could get a good estimate of productivity and job satisfaction as soon as you saw how the glove situation was handled. If you cut costs by going cheap on that kind of protective gear, you don't care for your employees, and they know that. My boss is looking to retire in the next 3-4 years. He told everyone that he wanted us to come up our visions for the company and its future over the next 5, 10, 20 years. We're a small office of about a half dozen people, but we've been growing, and so everyone brought up growth projections and succession planning once he retires, etc. His son is the heir apparent and has a precocious 8-year-old, so in my 20-year version I even included the grandson joining the business and grooming it to become a legacy company. My boss went last and we were expecting something acknowledging some of our thoughts, or at least an expression of appreciation that the company he founded would live on well past his retirement, be in good hands, etc. Instead it was brutal and short. It was something along the lines of, I do everything around here anyway, so I should just sell the company to fund my retirement and you can all find other companies to work for in a few years. Mood killed. Meeting ended. Everyone quits that same year and he can start his retirement early. Yay. In a company of 6 people, owner said in a meeting with everyone that his 2 sales guys are irreplaceable and that the rest of us are just paper pushers. He now runs a company of 3 people. Sales guys put maybe 20 minutes into one deal. Then operations puts days into logistics, payment, paperwork, claims, etc. We also just purchased an office building for $1 million plus. So if we leave and sales can't sell, this place will most definitely end up deep in bankruptcy. I'd hate to see that happen. But it's not the first time we've been informed that the scum and just suck up company money while the sales guys are the ones making the profits. I had a very good sales guy at a company I worked for. The guy was like 3 levels above anything we had there before. And he was very much in that mindset of talking about sales like hunting. And I could totally get that. But I told him, if you're the one doing the hunting, then we are the ones doing the gutting and cleaning and cooking. And everybody needs to eat. We were once in the middle of a very stressful period of work, and everyone was feeling it. However, one afternoon, an offhand comment turned into a conversation that we all got involved with and led to a few laughs. My manager, returning from a meeting, piped up, "Oh, we've finished tomorrow's work." "Have we? What's all this about?" Insert subject matter. Entire team instantly deflated. Unnecessary. Every employee needs time to blow off a little steam. Former teacher. The administrators at my school were usually pretty chill, but had a habit of randomly coming up with minor rules that they would enforce for us. Male teachers had to wear ties even on Jeans Day, etc. Overall it wasn't bad, except for the time an administrator made a crucial mistake. They banned staff from drinking coffee in front of students. Now if you've never worked in a school, you'd think this isn't a big deal. When you spend nearly 100% of your day in front of students, it definitely is a big deal. First we tried to find any loophole we could. Energy drinks, banned the next week. Tea, banned 2 days later. It was chaos. Eventually, we realized they couldn't fire an entire school's worth of teachers and aides. So we ended up doing the one thing that private schools fear most. We formed a union. Realistically, it was more of a weird pseudo-union focused specifically on civil disobedience regarding the coffee issue, but it ruffled feathers nonetheless. The administrators caved to our demands, allowed us to drink coffee again, and even bought each of us a reusable coffee mug as a gesture of goodwill. And that's the story of how a handful of school administrators almost accidentally created a teachers' union over a complete non-issue. Removed COLA raises each year for all employees and implemented a raise when promoted or take on more responsibility model. However, promotions are very rare and raises are never approved. So everyone is losing money to inflation each year, and they tried to sell it as a big win for the employees. We aren't stupid people. And companies wonder why employees leave after 3 years. No one knows. It's a mystery. Shrug. I think it would be funny to hand in your 2-week notice alongside with resume and cover letter for exactly the same position, with perks written in. 3-year experience in this exact position. Only request readjusted salary on the interview. Oh, and if asked why you left your previous job, my employer refused to adjust salary for inflation. Fired the girl who was in her 3rd trimester of pregnancy 3 days before her maternity leave was to start. My wife was let go after she announced her pregnancy to her manager, and approximately when she would need maternity leave, she was told that they'd rather replace her than deal with a pregnant employee and all that goes with that. A well-worded letter from our attorney got her 1 year's severance, and 2 years medical coverage for her and the baby. Head of department realized that we weren't about to meet our targets for the financial year, completely banned annual leave for 3 months. Forced anyone who didn't fill in their timesheet on time to attend disciplinary meeting, despite problems with the system, meaning that some didn't get filled in, and generally had lower management terrified, causing a massive blame culture and several people to be signed off with mental health issues. In the end, the employee survey which went to his bosses was hilariously bad, and he's now somewhere else making some other people's lives a misery. The best part was when his replacement came in and fired his right-hand man who was also a dong. All companies need employee surveys for this reason. Even if corporate doesn't read it, it's great fun to watch managers kiss ass for a week knowing their review is approaching. My company had an anonymous employee survey this past year, and when the results, which reflected negatively on the GM manager, were revealed, everyone had to sit through a 4-hour meeting where, line by line, Our GM asked, why do 50% of you feel this way or 60% of you not like this? No one really spoke up. It was supposed to be anonymous, so we just got told how if we felt that way. This is why our feelings were wrong. By the end of the 4 hours most of us were like, was that supposed to deter us from rating negatively next year? So we don't have to sit through a 4-hour meeting about how we're not right in feeling the way we did.